Welcome to Unbothered. I am OC Langston, a former athlete turned coach, and I want to introduce you and welcome you to episode 1 of the podcast. This show was born out of obsession. I'm not talking about like obsession with media or podcasting. I'm talking about straight up obsession with women's sports, with women succeeding, and with women just being the bosses that they are in general. I love to see women winning in places where people didn't expect it to happen. And so we're going to dive deeper and unbothered than just scores and stats. It's really not about that. It's about the mindset, the grit, the legacy, and the intensity that it takes to be a woman at the top of her game and do the thing that she loves on a day-to-day basis.
More than the mood, it's the weight and the will. Built for the climb, the story's the grind. This ain't just a pot, it's a whole state of mind. Limitless life. You can keep moving and stand still in fright. I came from nothing to this overnight. I'ma keep killing these stories despite all of the progress we make every day that we see. Man, these women are doing this right. Owning their lives in the day, working hard in the dark. Then they balling their ass off at night. Yeah.
I needed this podcast. 15 years ago, as a Division I athlete coming out of high school, I had multiple offers to play at schools. And I got those just out of sheer athleticism and a love for the sport of basketball. But that love for basketball only takes you so far. Because see, when you get to the Division I level, everybody has athleticism and a love for the sport. If they didn't, they wouldn't have got that far. It took me my freshman year of college to figure out that I was lacking something to get to that next level that the top 0.5% of athletes actually do have. And that's the mental side of the game. And I'm not talking about X's and O's and strategy, because I can strategize the heck out of a basketball game and make the right play in a game 9 times out of 10. I'm talking about the things that go on in the brain outside of the X's and O's. I'm talking about the reason that we meditate, the reason that we visualize success, how to deal with emotional coping, how to prepare for an opponent in my mind in the way that an elite winner would do so. All of these things were missing. It took me my whole freshman year to figure that out, my sophomore year to try to put together a plan. And then by the time my sophomore year rolled around, in that summer, I was injured with a very catastrophic and very traumatic injury that wrecked my body and did an even worse job on my mental health. At that point, I started looking around for things that could help, things that I could turn to, people that I could talk to, podcasts I could listen to, books I could read about women athletes going through similar things that I was going through, and I couldn't find it. That injury happened 13 years ago. Today, as a professional football coach, I still go through very similar struggles. And again, 13 years later, I look around and I see that this exists, but it exists in the realm of men. Now, men, don't get me wrong, athletes, we all go through similar struggles, but it's a little bit different when you're a woman trying to be a professional athlete. The game is different. The mentality is different. The things that you have to go through are different. Somebody very, very smart once told me that if you look around for a community and you can't find that community, then you build it yourself. And so that's what I'm doing with Unbothered. This one is for athletes who are chasing greatness and for fans who are just now catching on. It's for the athlete who has the 80%, the strength, the speed, the agility, the talent, the skill, but need that other 20%, the mental, to push them to that elite level. This is the show that I needed as a young college basketball player. And so, make no mistake, this is a sports show. And I'm going to be talking about how athletes react on the field, on the court, on the track, or wherever their heart and skill and talent has led them to be. This is about what it costs to get to the top, go through adversity, and stay on the top. It's an integral part of the story, and it needs to be told. See, what makes a woman athlete different? It's beyond the anatomy. It's beyond the talent. It's the pressure that women carry and the emotional labor. It's the mental edge that it takes to win with less. Routinely, women are asked to get a paycheck outside of their professional sport. It's why you see so many WNBA players headed off to Europe and Asia to go and play basketball in their off season. Because women, when we play a professional sport, it doesn't pay all the bills. And yet, if you are not phenomenal, amazing, the greatest thing that people have ever seen, better than any man that has ever walked the face of the earth, you get much less of the coverage with more effort. That kind of pressure, that kind of weight, that kind of will, it deserves this type of spotlight. And so in Unbothered, I'm going to be talking to women from across the globe. Professional women, professional athletes at the height of their game that have stories similar to this, where they've had to overcome that adversity to get to the mountaintop, to get to that elite status of their sport. You'll see in episode 2, I'm going to talk to Tammy Moore, the 2025 WNFC Trench Player of the Year in women's professional football, who picked up everything that she loved and left it behind in St. Louis to go live this dream of playing women's professional football down in Texas. These are stories that you don't hear, that you don't see from the other side of sports. And on the other side of sports, we see men training for strength, for speed, but we don't get to see women training through cycles of judgment, through fatigue, through having to choose between how am I going to show up as a mother, as a daughter, as a wife, as an aunt, as a sister, in the same way that a woman should, but also show up for myself in the same way that an athlete should. And yet, and still, the top elite athletes find a way with the mental edge to dominate in their avenue. Every mistake is magnified, and every win has to be justified. And so because of that, I'm not here to convince anyone that women belong in sports. That ship sailed years ago. We already know women belong here. I'm here to elevate women and to remind people what it takes for a woman to be great is totally different than anything that anybody has ever seen on this planet. So in the next episodes, as I sit down with people who are at the top of their game, I hope from these stories that you'll get a new respect for the mental game in women's sports, that you'll understand that women aren't just athletes competing physically, that women are actually navigating a mental battlefield built on double standards, limited access, and constant pressure. I hope that you'll get an awareness for the unseen work, the late nights, the underfunding, the sacrifices, the extra jobs, the overlooked effort, and the criticism with very limited coverage. I hope that maybe you'll try to redefine what greatness looks like for yourself, and that it's not just about stats, but also about the sacrifice that women make every single day. It's not just about the trophies. It's about the tenacity. And it's certainly not just about the rings. It's about the mindset. And finally, for all the young girls and young women that are listening, I hope that you'll see that this feels like a mirror. It's a reminder that what you're going through is valid, and what you're having to do to be at the top of your game, we've done that before. And there are women out there in this world right now that are paving the way, that are going to help you to get to where you want to go. You are not alone. And so, if you hear all that, and it still sounds good to you, then this right here, the Unbothered podcast, is the space for you. This is where the real conversations are going to happen. It's not going to be fluff and watered down energy, just mental grit, real voices, hard-earned lessons, and a bunch of really unbothered women. So if you're ready to go on this journey with me, then I invite you into the minds of greatness, and I invite you to also show up unbothered. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, we in this here, we never leaving, we killing this here, eating this here, leaving no crumbs, give you something to feel. Unbothered is real, more than a move, it's the weight in the will, built for the climb, the story's the grind. This ain't just a pot, it's a whole state of mind. Limitless life, you can keep moving.